start, let's take a look at one of the questions from the audience. I'm sure that you're familiar with House Bill 1950, which addresses Marsellus Shale. That would, among other things, preempt the responsibilities of local elected officials to decide on zoning issues. Zoning and land use are, of course, among the most important decisions that local officials can make. And the question is, do you support this bill, and especially the provision which gives the Attorney General the power to decide local zoning rules where there is a dispute?
Sure. And that's be very, if you're not clear with 1950, again, it deals with the Marsellus Shale, and we all know that Marsellus happened out there. Let me be very clear, when we look at my record, I have a 100% record when it comes to the environment. Been endorsed by the League, not in this race, but in past races, been endorsed by the Acerga Club and the League of Conservation Voters, and I was one of only 2 members of the U.S. Congress from Pennsylvania to co-sponsor the FRAC Act. We need to make sure as Attorney General that we have clean air and clean water, and that is a guaranteed right from the Pennsylvania Constitution. We need, when you have these bills, if it would pass in a law, which says that, we all know there's over 2,500 municipalities across Pennsylvania. In this bill, it gives the authority of the Attorney General to Bigfoot, basically, local municipalities. That is wrong. Local municipalities should have a say what's going on in their own communities. The Attorney General has to be a leader when it comes to our environment. And let me be very clear. There are people out there who are exploiting the environment. Not everybody, but they get the frack water, the wastewater, and they dump it illegally. What's been happening so far? They get a fine. Well, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, that's the cost of doing business. When they intentionally or knowingly do it, they should go to jail. It is very simple. And then, in this campaign, someone who has a record with the environmental community that understands and has been there through the wars in the past, and has been campaigned against from the right wing on this issue, needs to understand that we need to do a better job at getting our message out on what's really going on in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And it's not being done far enough, partially because people like Jay Costa and Dan Frankel and others, they need help in Harrisburg. When you look at the Department of Environmental Protection and the Attorney General's office, they are underwater when it comes to prosecuting cases of environmental breaches. They need reinforcements. They need to get out there to make sure that you're using that office as a bully pulpit to say, why would we have a severance fee? At the same time, we refuse, only state in the country, you all know this, only state in the country that doesn't have a severance fee when it comes to Marsellus Shale. I mean, even Sarah Palin in Alaska raised the fees. We're the right wing of Sarah Palin right now in Harrisburg. That's not pretty, okay? At a time when you're leaving hundreds of millions of dollars on the table, you cut $1 billion from education. Why, and again, you're saying, well, Marsellus Shale, education, where's the connection? Pretty simple. 70% of the people that are incarcerated in Pennsylvania prisons do not have a high school degree. When you cut $1 billion from education, that's a crime bill. There's absolutely no reason why the Pennsylvania Attorney General wasn't there on the Capitol steps saying, this is wrong and this will hurt the criminal justice system. We have to be smarter when we fight crime. I've been there in the courtroom. I've prosecuted terrorists. I've done drug cases. I've been there and done it in federal court, military courts, in foreign courts. I've been licensed for over 8 years in the Pennsylvania bar. Practiced in 2 major law firms in Pennsylvania. The current partner of one of the biggest firms, including an office here in Pittsburgh. But the fact is this. The 12 million people in Pennsylvania are hurting. They are not getting a fair shake. And what they want from their Attorney General is someone who's going to enforce the laws fairly, evenly, and make sure they're doing what's right and just for everybody, and not just a special interest. Thank you.
I believe the question was, do you support House Bill? I do not support that House bill. I believe it is an affront to the citizens of every small community who get to make their own choice of what they want in their water and in their air. So I do not support it. I also do not support it because I don't believe that attempting to shut up citizens by taking away any assessment fees or any fees that they would be getting because they argued out against it is proper. In that bill it says that the people of the whatever municipality can have their impact fees taken away because they argued against it. This is the United States of America, everyone. There is freedom of speech. You are allowed to get up and say what you believe. So I do not agree with it for those reasons. And quite frankly, if we had regulations in place, perhaps the municipalities wouldn't be scrambling to put regulations to protect the public. With that said, the Attorney General does not have original jurisdiction over environmental matters. It lies with the offices of the district attorneys in 67 counties. We had environmental crimes in our office. They came to us first because they must. That is the law. The Attorney General enforces the laws of Pennsylvania. We could say whatever we want up here in a debate or in a speech. But the fact of the matter is the Attorney General is not a congressman and not a senator and not the governor. It is the chief law enforcement officer of the state of Pennsylvania, the laws of Pennsylvania. So the environmental cases come from the district attorneys of the 67 counties. And that's important to know. When they do come, you have to have an environmental section, which the Office of Attorney General right now does. And I know one of the prosecutors in it. But it needs to be more proactive. So when those cases are referred to you, they need to make sure that they have investigators, scientists out there who are able to test the water. But before you can do that, you still have to follow the criminal laws of Pennsylvania. You still have to obtain a search warrant. You still have to draw up the search warrant. You still have to have it approved by the Attorney General of Pennsylvania. I have seen thousands and thousands of search warrants. That is part of what I did as an assistant district attorney. The police officers and the agents draw them up, and we make sure that they're correct so that no one's civil rights were violated. We made sure they were correct so the case could proceed. So you have to look at the search warrant. You have to make sure your investigators know what they're doing. And to do that, you need to know what you're doing. Because quite frankly, everything boils down to it is the criminal laws of Pennsylvania. There's nothing more that needs to be said. It is extremely specialized craft. I am highly trained in child sexual assault, highly trained. I know the jury instructions for child sexual assault. You can't just walk into a courtroom and not know what you're doing. Many times parents have said to me, "You've done this before, right?" And my answer always is, unfortunately, hundreds of times before. But the same holds true for every single law. You need to know about search warrants. You need to know about search and seizure. You need to know how to behave in the courtroom. You need to know the laws. You need to know the rules of court. You need to know the rules of evidence that Pennsylvania follows. That's just the way that it is. The Attorney General certainly can speak their mind, but the Attorney General has nothing to say about a severance tax. We can't control the governor. We can't make the governor do anything that the governor or the legislature isn't going to do. If there's a violation, of course we speak out against it. Enforcement, absolutely, because nothing says that we're not going to tolerate you ruining our water and having a site blow up, like put your toothbrush in your back pocket. Somebody's going to jail.